Yo, what's up? And welcome to episode 23 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and joining me as he does every week is Woody V. Woods, how are you, man?
Good, Robbie. Great to be here, man. Let's do it again.
Always good to be back, mate. So look, just before we get into it today, guys, just a reminder where to find us. Please like and subscribe to the videos on YouTube. And if you are listening to the audio, that is available on all podcast channels. Please make sure you hit subscribe there as well. All right, Woods. So today we'll be speaking a little bit about the NBA, as well as some Hawks talk, which we haven't done for a little while, some NBL talk, and of course, we will be opening up another classic pack. So look at that. Bit of a tease there. So we've got an old Tops pack there. I think we had a good pack when we opened that.
We did
before. So hopefully let's repeat that. So, all right. So like we do every week, Woods, we'll start with showcasing our jersey. Why don't you take us away?
Yeah, special day today, Robbie. We decided to go down this route. So as I stand up, right? Yeah, exactly. As I stand up, why don't you tell the audience what I'm wearing today?
Sure. So Woody's standing up wearing an old school number 2 Philadelphia 76ers Moses Malone jersey. Rest in peace to Moses there, but beautiful looking jersey there, Woods. You don't see many of those going around.
Yeah, I really like it. I was just telling you earlier off air that I've never worn it before. I've had it for a while. So yeah, classic jersey. I'll just go through a little bit about Moses Malone, one of the greatest rebounders of all time. He ranks 5th on the all-time rebounding list. And some of his accolades: NBA champion in 1983, NBA Finals MVP in 1983. He's a 3-time NBA's most valuable player, 12-time NBA All-Star, NBA All-Defensive First Team selection and Second Team selection in 83 and 79. He started off in the ABA before moving to the NBA, 6-time rebounding leader. In 1979 and 81 to 85, he made the NBA 50th anniversary team, the 75th anniversary team, and his number 2 jersey is retired, this one by the Philadelphia 76ers, and his number 24 jersey by the Houston Rockets. And very sadly, he passed away on the 13th of September, 2015, aged just 60, Robbie.
Yeah, he wasn't very old. Look, it's funny. You mentioned he made the top 50 and the top 75 teams. He still seems a little bit underrated to me, Woods. I don't know if you agree. You just don't hear his name brought up like you do with other people there. And I guess a special shout out as well with Moses Woods. He did have a few years with our Hawks in the late 80s there.
Sure did.
I've got to say, at that time, he was looking pretty old, the old Moses. He had the goggles going on and everything. Wasn't moving around too well. So I'm not going to say that I loved his stint with the Hawks at that time. But, hey, that was about, 15 years into his career. So, yeah, definitely.
We're talking about the classic packs we've opened. You remember the 1991 hoops with the silver background? I've got that Moses card, and it's sitting in my folder somewhere. So, and you see him with the goggles on the back of the card in his photo. So,
that's a classic today, Woods. I like that one. Well, I guess, look, to continue the theme there. So, as usual, I've sort of got one hanging over my shoulder. Also, if you can see a little bit underneath that jersey, I've got a little bit of a Dr. J bleacher figure there. But look, the one hanging over my shoulder is an old school Jerry West jersey. So I'll just tell you a little bit about that one. So it's an old school Reebok LA Lakers 1962 throwback jersey. That was actually the second year of the Lakers after they moved from Minneapolis in 1960. Look, West doesn't really need a lot of introduction. He had an amazing NBA career. His resume included an NBA championship in 72, an NBA Finals MVP in 69 in a losing effort, which is interesting. 14-time All-Star and 12-time All-NBA. He was also a 1-time scoring champ, 1-time assist leader, and a 5-time all-defensive player, Woods, which I was probably a little bit surprised about with doing the research there. So he definitely had a complete game, didn't he? And look, like Moses Woods, he was also a member of that NBA anniversary team at every point that it was named. He's won 2 gold medals, 8 rings as an executive, and of course we all know him as the logo, as much as Jerry West is a little bit shy about that. So Woody and I were just talking before, the new Lakers winning time show is out. I was just telling him the guy that's portraying Jerry West on that is actually an Aussie, Jason Clark. So very interesting show. For those that haven't seen that, the first episode is up, and I've got to say I really enjoyed that. I know Woods is hoping to watch that soon. So
yeah, today hopefully.
Nice. Well, let me know what you think, mate. All right. So, look, this week I'm wearing the Doctor. What more can you say? So, as I said, you can see his little figurine hanging at the back. I'll just stand up and show you guys this one.
Yeah. So, for all of those who can't see, Robbie's wearing the Dr. J Philly number 6 jersey. And teammates with Moses as well.
4 years, right? We said, yeah. I feel like one of us needed to do that Julius, the doctor, the big introduction they used to do for him every time, but it's a bit early in the morning here, so we'll avoid doing that. But look, just a little bit about Dr. J there, Woods. So this is an old school Reebok Philadelphia 76ers jersey. So Dr. J played 14 seasons in the NBA after playing 3 seasons in the ABA. Obviously, he was known as Dr. J, real high flyer, and I think his signature afro sort of made him one of the most recognisable players of his era, and I think probably someone that still is very recognisable now. So Dr. J actually once recalled while playing in the Rucker Park League back in the day that people were calling him Black Moses and people were calling him Houdini, and he said he told them if you want to call me anything, call me Doctor. So over time that nickname evolved into Dr. Julius, and finally Dr. J, which is a pretty cool little story. So,
great story.
Look, his accolades: 2-time ABA champ, 3-time ABA MVP, NBA champ in '83 with Moses. He was a league MVP in '81, 11-time NBA All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, and also, like Jerry West and like Moses Malone, he was basically named to those NBA anniversary teams at every point. So I've got to apologise though, Woods. I actually don't have a Dr. J bobblehead. I am sorry, but I do have one of these. So I've got one of those Funko Pop figures that I like to collect. So I've got Dr. J there wearing his old Nets jersey there, and with the signature, the afro flowing there. So I thought that was a bit of an old school one there. So
awesome, Robbie.
All right, good stuff. All right, well, we might sort of get into it. What do you reckon, Woods?
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, we thought we might sort of start off today a little bit just with a few NBA storylines that are sort of, some topical things that have happened in the last week or so. Yeah. So, all right, so we might choose 3 of those. So, Woods, I thought the first one we might talk about today is LeBron's 56-point outburst against Golden State. Yes, this was a few days ago for those that are going to be sort of listening to this, maybe this weekend. But I just wanted to see, Woody, what were your thoughts on his effort, and will this propel the Lakers to a playoff run?
Look, I mean, it's incredible that at that age that he's able to do this and keep this consistency up in what is in the back half of his career, right? Or the back end of his career. Mm-hmm. Just a quick question for you then. How many players of that age, 37 or more, but I'm going to put you on the spot, right, have had 50-point games, Robbie? 37 years or older.
I love stuff like that. So I believe there was 4 players, Woody. 3 absolute legends, and then a legend to me. So the 3 absolute legends, I'd say, would be MJ, Kobe, and LeBron. And the absolute legend to me is one of my all-time favorites, Jamal J. Crossover Crawford, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. I knew you'd get that, right?
I like when you put me on the spot. That's good.
For sure. To answer that second half of your question, I don't know if this is going to propel the Lakers. The Lakers are really struggling. They're sitting at 28-36 right now in 9th spot, only 1 ahead of the Pelicans in the Western Conference. And then you got to look all the way up to the Clippers at 34 wins. And, somewhere between 15 and 20 games left for everyone in the season. I mean, it's a big, ladder for them to climb to even get to eighth spot. So I think the best they can hope for is a play-in situation, and maybe they get Anthony Davis, LeBron, and you never know with Russell Westbrook these days. But if they can get them firing on all cylinders, it'd still be a dangerous team to play against in that play-in situation. But
and Woods, LeBron's is a little bit banged up at the moment too, isn't he?
He
so
is.
I believe he missed yesterday. He's going the day before. So I mean, that's not a good sign. I mean, Anthony Davis is made of tissue paper basically. So if you've got him and now LeBron at this age a bit banged up, it's a bit dicey, isn't it? But yeah, it will be sort of interesting to see. I mean, look, I'm sure if they obviously do end up making it and sort of get into the top 8, I mean, you wouldn't want to play that team, would you? I mean, if they're a healthy team, I mean, it wouldn't be surprised if Westbrook just had some, crazy playoff series and made a few of the haters eat their words. But obviously they've got to get there first. So
even in a 9th or 10th position, they're not going to be an easy team. They could just get that few wins to get them straight up into the playoffs, right? So yeah.
Good call. All right, so the second storyline, Woods, I just wanted to go to the Eastern Conference for this one.
Sure.
Talking about the playoffs there, I feel like there's a lot of contenders in the East now. I think a few of those teams got better over the trade deadline.
Yep.
Who is your tip right now, Woody, to make the Eastern Conference Finals?
I'm going to go with Miami and Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And a winner?
I would say Milwaukee, right?
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Look, I sort of thought about that one. I'm going to have Milwaukee in there as well. I'm going to take Philly over Miami. So maybe this is the year that James Crawford. James Harden actually turns up in the playoffs. James Crawford could probably do it too, right?
Yeah,
Always
got the Wildcats on your mind, don't you, man?
It's on the brain, mate. You know that. But look, I think either one of those series would be good, wouldn't they? There.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I just wanted to sort of check with you as well. Woods, one potential matchup that I keep thinking about, and obviously that was the prediction I gave there. Eastern Conference Finals potentially, or even an earlier round, would be if the Bucks played the 76ers. Just wanted to see what your thoughts on that sort of matchup. I was sort of thinking the Bucks, without a lot of front court options, with Brook Lopez being out, could you see Giannis potentially matching up on Embiid if they were to meet? And how would you see that going?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you just mentioned it. This is where a guy like Brook Lopez is going to be missed, right? But I mean, Giannis can do a good job, I'm sure, guarding him. But the guy's an absolute beast, Joel Embiid. He can get it done in a variety of ways. In the post, he's shooting the three ball well. He's got that face-up game that's on point. I mean, right now, pretty much nobody can guard him. It'll be a hell of a matchup, right? Maybe you could throw a guy like Serge Ibaka now, at him potentially. But then he's probably
if you could go back in a time machine, maybe 5 years, right?
Yeah, I know, right? It's going to be, as you said, lack of front court options there. I mean, it's going to be tough for anyone. I mean, maybe you just make sure you stop everyone else and let Embiid go off in the situation, right? Like
that's true. Maybe let him sort of average 40 a night in the series, but just try and contain the Maxis and the Hardens and everything else like that. So
exactly. Yeah,
that's probably a good call. Heard an interesting fact on, I think it was Jalen and Jacoby just this morning. Actually, would you realize that Embiid's only made 4 more 3-pointers than Giannis this year? When I sort of heard them talking about it, I just assumed that Embiid would have made a lot more, but. Isn't it interesting with Giannis now? He hasn't been afraid to take it. He's never going to have the most pretty-looking shot, but this sort of goes down to, a little bit what we spoke about with a former Philadelphia 76ers player. You've got to get these shots up there. You've got to get repetition and start making them and make the defense be honest. And even if it's, you're shooting late 20%, you've got to work on that. At least try it. So hopefully we'll see some changes with Brooklyn, but I won't hold my breath when that happens. So, all right, I appreciate that, Woods. Look, I thought next one on that, we might go into a little bit of Atlanta Hawks talk. I know we haven't done that for a few weeks. It's been probably an up and down couple of weeks of the Hawks, as it seems to have been the whole season there, right? So at the time of recording, so it's Thursday, the 10th of March now, the Hawks are currently 31-33. They had a difficult loss to Detroit early in the week in overtime. They are actually playing today, Woods, I believe, very soon, actually, at Milwaukee, who we just spoke about. So that's going to be a tough game. We do sort of struggle against the Bucks. Look, it feels like things are starting to appear to be trending in the right direction. We've got JC back now. How do you see the Hawks at this moment, Woods, and can they get into the top 8?
Well, we've been saying that for a while. Like, we see things are trending up. We've just not been able to get over that 500 mark, really, right? All year. And it's a bit disappointing on all that we did last year that we haven't been able to build on that. I thought we'd be a top 4, top 5 team. My predictions and your predictions, we both had them up there, right?
Yeah.
So it has been a bit disappointing. I guess the one caveat here is there's a huge logjam at the bottom of that Eastern Conference, as you can see by the standings. You got the Hornets on 32, the Nets on 33, the Raptors on 34, the Cavaliers on 38. I mean, they just keep holding on.
Hey, don't forget the Knicks as well, Woods. They've been winning a bit lately too.
Yeah, right? they're at 27. The Wizards at 29. So, I mean, there's so many teams right there. And I think that if we can put together a little bit of a run, we can take over the Hornets and the Raptors. I feel that the Nets, now that they've got Durant back and the trade pieces have come on board, maybe Simmons will start playing. They'll make a little run and maybe even get into that top 6, and the Cavaliers will fall out. But I think 6th or 7th, I would say, would be a good achievement, if we can get there. You got Bogdanovic playing some good basketball lately as well.
Good. Yep. I'll tell you something as well in the Hawks' favour, Woods. They've actually got the easiest schedule for the rest of the season. So if you remember rightly, early in the season when we sort of started, the podcast, we were saying the Hawks have just got this brutal schedule, all these road games, not a lot of home games. Well, it's come the full circle now. So we've actually got the easiest schedule coming home. So we've just got to take care of business and win some of these games. I mean, like I said a few days ago, playing in Detroit and losing in overtime, you can't do that. You want to play the finals, you can't be doing that. So look, I think it's getting that sort of set team out there. We've seen Double O's missed a few games lately. It always seems to be someone out, whether it's Hunter or Herter or one of those sort of guys. There always seems to be one of these guys missing now. So, I think if we can get everyone back, I mean, Trey continues to be in great form. He's a little bit banged up as well. His ankles aren't too good. But I wanted to actually touch on Bogdanovic as well, Woods. You mentioned him before. he's looked really good lately, hasn't he? He sort of comes up very big in fourth quarters. He's quite a clutch player. You can run a little bit of offense through him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I don't mind when the Hawks bring him off the bench, to be honest. So maybe even start, Red Velvet or Gallo there and bring Bogdanovic off the bench, put him against those second units, get him to
100%.
handle the ball a little bit like that. So, yeah, he's been a bit of a, I guess, probably a bright spot for me with, with that John Collins injury. He kind of stepped up a bit, but.
And I mean, we mentioned in the Western Conference, catching the Lakers in a play-in situation or, in a first-round matchup could be dangerous, right? Our Atlanta Hawks bring that same, danger. You got players there who can get hot, and, our Hawks can beat anyone on any given day, right? And you've seen their success in the playoffs last year, so you don't want to be playing them in a first-round matchup if you're,
very true.
They've Philly or someone. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, look, I still think last year was a little bit of, I don't know. I just think it kind of gave a little bit of a false impression. Why it was so good that we got there. I'm not going to say it was a fluke that we got to the Eastern Conference Finals, but it felt like a lot of things did go our way. Yeah. We had a few injuries as well, but all the teams we played were a little bit more banged up, and we sort of got there, and I felt like it probably put a bit of extra pressure on a young team this year, and I think that probably sort of was held against us, wasn't it? Maybe you guys were believing the hype, they were reading these win predictions and thinking maybe they didn't have to work as hard and everything like that. So, yeah. So, look, let's hope they do sort of get in there and make a big fight of it. What are we talking now? So I said 31, 33, 64. So there's 18 games left. Yeah. So
it's not a lot, You think about the season.
I mean, if we win 10 of those, can that get us in there? It'll be interesting. I mean, I'm sort of a little bit worried for Cleveland as well, with Jared Allen being out sort of indefinitely now as well. They've got a few banged up
people.
They
just keep winning though. Like,
they do.
I don't know how that happens, right?
So, because that was one team I was looking at, could we potentially take them, or could the Raptors start slipping? But I think with 18 games, there's probably not enough time to catch some of those teams. So we've either just got to consolidate that spot in the playoff, getting in the top 10, or hope that a few things, New Jersey goes on a bad run or something like that, and Brooklyn, and then we end up sort of passing them maybe. So, yeah, we'll watch this space. I'll hopefully be watching a bit of that game later, Woods against the Bucks.
For sure, man.
I'll give you an update how it's going, right? Nice. All right. Well, I thought we might go into a little bit of NBL talk now, Woods. So round 14 is in the books. We'll obviously talk a little bit about that. We've got a very big round this week. I believe it's 8 games in 5 days, which I'm quite looking forward to. But, yeah, just wanted to ask you, Woods, for that round 14 that is in the books, what were your thoughts on the round and maybe what stood out to you there?
I mean, the Illawarra Hawks, we've been very critical of them lately, right? And they're fighting back. It's almost like we're going, my Sydney Kings and the Hawks are going game for game, one's in 5th, one's in 4th. And they've come up with some gutsy wins over the weekend, especially against SEM, right? The Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. And Tyler Harvey, we've been critical of him. He had an absolute dud, 1 point in the whole game.
The last minute, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah, and they still managed to get the W. Guys like Antonius Cleveland stepping up. I've been a bit critical of Xavier Rathan-Mays. He had a hell of a game, right? So Illawarra is the one team, like, could this be gorgeous, losing his streak of playoff runs, right? He's not going to let that happen by the looks of things. And the team that I'm worrying a little bit about is SEM. They're only one game, one loss ahead of Illawarra and my Sydney Kings, right? I don't know, your Perth Wildcats are, 10-6. Am I right in saying that, or something like that at the moment?
Around that, but yeah, I'm not concerned about them with that home.
They got nine games at home, so I think they should be fine. But SEM's the one team that I'm not 100% convinced about. A guy like Brandon Ashley's getting fouled out really quickly. He's struggling to stay on the floor, and he's a big part of what they're doing. Joe Chi has been disappointing.
The bench for me for Southeast Woods has been a bit disappointing. It just hasn't been that sort of regular player stepping up, and even guys like Dane Pennell just don't. He doesn't seem to sort of had what he had a couple of years ago. I know he's had injuries and everything like that, but guys like Cam Glidden haven't been as good.
Just about to say,
Lee Arthur's improved a lot, but the guy's taking about 15 shots a game now. I just don't see that that's probably what the Phoenix need there.
Yeah. Shout out to Kyle Adnan. He's the one guy who does bring it off that bench, right?
Yeah, he does. He's playing really well. Woods, I wanted to touch on your Sydney Kings, mate.
Sure.
Are you starting to get excited, because they are looking really good? I've got to say,
really good. I mean, even if it means that they play some close games away from home. You'll notice that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they might get some blowouts at home, right? And they might win by larger margins, but it doesn't really matter. It's just getting the W in the books. Even that game against Cairns, which I was at last week, Cairns fought really hard. Taj McCall wasn't playing, and they stayed with Sydney.
Sydney's D wasn't the greatest that game, was it?
It wasn't, no. But they got the job done. They did what they needed to do to get the W. A guy like Ian Clark in that fourth quarter, man, just showing why Sydney brought him here, right? And
that Sydney team is loaded. I kind of watch it now, and man, I mean, I already thought Adams, Cooks, and Martin was just an amazing trio. And now you bring in someone like Ian Clark. I'm not going to make any jokes about the Kings this week, Woods. I've made a few too many lately. But,
while we're on it, man, Xavier Cooks, is he going to get an opportunity in Summer League? I think he's at that point where he could, right? He's got that Sean Marion type of game about him a little bit, right? And I just believe he could be a Swiss Army knife.
Improved a little bit. He's still, he probably still needs to get a little bit better for that, NBA distance three. But absolutely, I mean, like you, Woods, I watch every single Hawks game. He would not be out of place, coming on as the 8th or 9th guy on the Hawks.
For sure.
Atlanta Hawks, I'm saying.
For sure, man.
Yeah, really enjoyed the way he's played him. Seems like a great teammate as well. Seems to enjoy the game and everything else like that. So, big shout out to Cook. So hopefully we can go.
Jersey.
Yeah, well, I'm going to. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully we can go catch some Sydney's final games this year as Woods, because it's been a long time since we've been together and watched.
Very long time.
Long time, right? Yeah. I can't even remember how long. Probably like Entertainment Centre days back in the day.
That's when it would have been. Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to check as well, Woods. Obviously for that round, all the teams wore their Indigenous jerseys. I got to say, I absolutely love them. There was about 5 in particular that I really liked. There wasn't really any that I didn't like, to be honest. Wanted to see what your maybe 2 favourite designs were for those Indigenous jerseys.
Yeah, definitely. I love the Melbourne United one, and the Sydney Kings one, which was terrific. I've already ordered my Wani Swakala Bullock Indigenous jersey, which is awesome. And you said, Woody, you should get a Joe Luala-Chul Melbourne Indigenous jersey. So I'll get one. I'll get one of those as well. But they were all nice, as you said. But those 2 actually stood out for me. Yeah.
Agree. Well, they were probably my 3rd and 4th, those ones. So certainly right up there. Probably my 2 favourites were the Southeast Melbourne ones. I just love that sort of really light, bright green. It was a very busy sort of a jersey.
Awesome.
And the Illawarra jersey I liked as well. It's kind of fairly similar to the Kings, maybe, obviously, with the black there and everything like that. But yeah, you sort of can't go wrong with either of those. Had a lot of good feedback for that Bryce Cotton Indigenous jersey from a couple of years ago that I wore on last week's show as well. So that's a real nice jersey. I sort of appreciated that a bit more. Got it out last week. I'm like, these are really nice jerseys. And, with a wardrobe filled with a lot of very plain looking red Wildcats jerseys, it's nice to have one with sort of so much detail and colour there. So, I think that's a good initiative that the NBL do, sort of doing that round each year. So, all right, Wood. So as I mentioned, it's round 15 coming up. We've got 8 games in 5 days. That's going to be very sort of busy. Starting off tonight, of course, the game of the round is when I'm playing basketball tonight. Woods right at the same time. So no spoilers. I'm going to watch that hopefully after a win tonight, and then come home and watch the Wildcats have a win too. But
and some big games. I mean, we talked to the sport blokes last week about how the round had a lot of one-sided dud games. There's going to be a lot of critical games this round. So just bringing up the games for the round, if you can see that, Robbie. Yeah,
they're up there, mate. Yeah, take us away with those, mate.
Okay, let's kick off with, as you said, the game of the round today, Melbourne versus Perth. Obviously, Melbourne playing at home there at John Cain Arena. So what you got?
Look, probably feel bad for saying I'm probably going to pick Melbourne for that. They are the hottest team in the league at the moment. Actually listened to the latest episode of the Dribble podcast, which is the WA podcast there. Woods, they actually had Majok on there yesterday. Very interesting. If you haven't checked it out, they talked about his sort of friendship with JLA. How they basically grew up together in Perth. They went to the same school. They were both very keen soccer players before turning to basketball, as you would when you're 7 foot tall. But I'm going to say Melbourne for that one. What about yourself?
Yeah, definitely Melbourne. And I think even if Perth do take the L in this one, they get to head back home after this round, right, Robbie? If I'm not mistaken. And
it's a tough round for Perth. 3 road games here, but then they're done. They're back at Perth and they're going to win every game. So
yeah. All right, so let's move on to the second game, which is tomorrow night, Cairns versus Tasmania.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that game. I know it's I think if McCall's back, I think that's probably going to put Cairns there. Obviously, Zimmerman was huge last week against the Kings. I'll say Cairns probably in a close one for that. Maybe a better game than what people are thinking.
Yeah, Tasmania's been a little bit up and down lately, and Cairns, even though they've taken L's in their last couple of games, they've been playing with a lot of heart. And as you said, if Taj comes back and they're at home, and Machado had 26 the other day, looks like he's back to somewhere near his best. I'm going to take Cairns in that one.
Sure, and get Machado on your fantasy team for those that haven't got him. He's dirt cheap at the moment and putting up some big numbers. So
yeah, I got to set my lineup before tonight.
I shouldn't have reminded you.
All right, let's move on. So we got Perth again. They're playing away in Brisbane, as you mentioned.
This one
I got Perth, man, straight up.
This one worries me a little bit. I don't know why. I mean, I know Brisbane's a little bit wounded at the moment. We've got Sobey out. I just think Perth, it's a pretty big schedule. We're finally back in Perth, got a fly to Melbourne. 2 days later, we're playing in Brisbane. You know the player that worries me the most for Brisbane against Perth Woods? Jason Kadee. We saw what the guy did last week. He always plays well against Perth and hits big shots against us there. So that kind of worries me there. Hopefully Mitch Norton might be healthy and sort of maybe able to lock him up there. But I'm looking forward to that matchup of Franks and Law. That's, two very good players there. Franks is a funny play for me, though, Woods. He seems to have sort of one pretty quiet game, then he kills it the next game. So I'd like to see a little bit more consistency from him. But, I'll say Perth for this one.
I'll say Perth as well. But you got to remember, probably the best game of the season so far was, in one of the earlier rounds between Brisbane and Perth, when Brisbane got that overtime victory, right? Yeah, so it could be a good game. All right, let's move on. New Zealand versus Adelaide. This is one game I'm not really looking forward to. But anyway.
Try and say something positive. I guess firstly for me with Adelaide Woods, another week's gone past and another rumoured import is supposed to be joining Adelaide. So I'm not even kind of really believing that now until I actually see, it was Randall one week and it was Hobson the next week. This week's is Casper Ware. I don't know what's going on there, where these rumours are sort of coming from there, whether it's actually the players themselves trying to sort of get a job in the NBL because they don't like where they are overseas. But I'm not sure. I think Adelaide probably need to do something there. New Zealand's beat up though at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
I tried to look on the NBL injury list on NBL.com this morning, but it actually wasn't on there. So I couldn't actually see who for New Zealand wasn't playing. So we'll again harp on that one, Woods. If the NBL wants us to compile that each week, happy to do it so people can know rather than just guessing and turning on a game and seeing that 4 players are out. But New Zealand have had quite a few people out. Peyton Seaver's struggling as well at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah. And I mean, they look deflated, with everything that they've had to go through, and they're lacking a bit of motivation. You can just see that in some of the players, and
you
even
see Finn Delaney last week, Woods. He just looked pissed off the whole game, didn't he? He got into it a little bit with Franks. He just looked really unhappy. He's sort of very unenthusiastic and everything like that. So it's been a tough year for him. You can't deny that. I wonder what it's like whether playing with Dan Shamir, some of his stuff's kind of wearing off on him a bit. Maybe I don't know. Tough game. Not sure I'll be watching this one either, Woods, but I'll say New Zealand in a close one.
Yeah, I'm saying New Zealand as well. And just to go back to Adelaide and their import situation you mentioned, Robbie, I think at this point when they're not got any chance of making into the top 4, right? Are we agreeing on that?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a few teams you can really cross off already, so they're one of them. A lot of games in Tasmania this weekend, isn't there? Jeez.
Yeah, there is. I mean, give the Adelaide young guys a run is basically what I was saying, Robbie. Some of the Tad Duffel-Myers of the world, a bit more court time and stuff, right? You have that opportunity to showcase Mojave King a little bit more, maybe. Sure. All right, let's move on. Tassie Jack Jumpers versus the Illawarra Hawks. As you said, another game in Tasmania.
Yeah, I don't mind that game, actually. I always kind of enjoy watching Illawarra play. I was thinking last week, Antonius Cleveland, I mean, he's got to be one of the most athletic players in the league, right? I love when he sort of gets on the break or he drives down baseline because he's just going to make an exciting play happen. And look, probably like you, Woods, we both enjoyed sort of watching Tassie. I know you'll probably speak about your boy who stepped up the last few games for them for Tassie. But look, I'll say Illawarra in this one. Hopefully a decent game as well.
Yeah, I'll say Illawarra as well. I mean, for my Sydney Kings, I'd like to see the Jack Jumpers win. And yes, I'll speak a little bit about Mikhail McIntosh. And I've been saying it for a while. The guy can straight up play. And having Will Magnay out of the lineup has really given him that opportunity to play additional minutes. And he hasn't let his team or the coaching staff down.
He's a big unit, isn't he, Woods? I'll tell you what. He's got a massive body on him. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. This is arguably also could be the game of the round, man. I know you said the one tonight, but we got a throwdown. We got a throwdown between SEM and Melbourne United.
Well, firstly, let's hope we get a better crowd than the Southeast Melbourne game brought up last week. I think it was about 3,000, which honestly, absolutely pathetic. Seriously, talking about a professional sport in Melbourne. You're supposed to be the sporting capital of Australia. prove it, guys. Go and support your team and don't have 3,000 going to a game. That's BS, honestly. So now I've got that off my chest, Woods. Yeah, liking this game as well. Obviously, I think that big sort of centre matchup between JLA and Joe Chi will be sort of probably pretty pivotal to the result there. Yeah, I'm going to go a surprise in this one. I think I'm going to say Mitch Creek and Mumford really step up in this game, and I'm going to say that Southeast Melbourne win this game.
Right, no, that's fair. I'm going to go the other direction and say Melbourne United. Look at their winning streak at the moment.
Huge.
Even when they're not playing well and struggling, they still find a way to get W's. Yeah, so I'm going to go Melbourne United there. And just on that crowd, man, best crowd of the year at Kudos Bank Arena last week.
Full credit to the Kings fans, for coming out. Absolutely.
Over 9,000, just a great atmosphere, great to be there. So it's not often you can say that the Sydney crowd came out in 3 times the numbers as the Melbourne crowd, right?
And honestly, if you're living in Sydney, why would you not go? Why would you not go at the moment? Like I just mentioned, some of those players on that team, you got some great Aussie talent as well. So if you're in Sydney, get out and support the Kings, absolutely, and go to Ribs and Rumps and have a mixed grill after you watch the game, right, Woods?
Right, definitely. Yeah. I actually ran into Angus Glover at Ribs and Rumps afterwards, and he gave me some love, man. So nice it was good to see him, and he seemed like in good spirits as well, sitting down with some of his family members. So it's great. Okay, let's move on, guys. Let's move on, Robbie. Sorry, Cairns and Sydney Kings. Sydney's going out to Cairns, and I mean, I can't see Cairns toppling us over. Sydney, as we said, they're on a 6-game winning streak at the moment.
That's huge. So, can I just check, Woods? Are you sure that's not a misprint? Because what I'm reading there, it's showing that Sydney are the away team. That can't be right, is it? So Sydney's actually away. So they've got to get on an airplane and travel to a game this week, or? Wow.
Your Perth Wildcats might have a bit of a homestand, man, but we've already played 12 out of our 14 home games. So in the back half of the season, the Sydney Kings. Yeah, we'll be on the road, so yeah.
Nice. Well, I know you'll be watching this one with your 2 favourite teams. I mean, I'll take Sydney for this one. You can't not pick them at the moment, can you?
Yeah, definitely not. And yeah, final game of the round: New Zealand Breakers versus Perth Wildcats. Pretty self-explanatory. I know it's at a neutral venue, My State Bank Arena, but yeah, I've got your Wildcats to win that.
I'm going to make a random call for that one, Woods. Obviously, the Wildcats. I'm going to say the Wildcats win that game by 20 plus.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
I'm not one to actually disagree with you there.
20 plus. Mate, everyone likes us disagreeing, so we can't agree on everything. But no, that's all good. All good.
Yeah. And if New Zealand actually lose that game earlier in the round to Adelaide, they're going to head out not in the greatest spirits, man. So
yeah,
I think that first game and how New Zealand performed possibly dictate how big a blowout that second game is going to be. Yeah,
good call.
But yeah, as I said earlier, really important round. Everyone's jostling for positions out of that top 4 or 5. And for my Sydney Kings, if I can get an Illawarra loss and a Southeast Melbourne loss, it wouldn't hurt so badly. So yeah,
that'd be huge. No, definitely looking forward to this round, Woods. Absolutely.
Thanks, Robbie.
Nice. All right. Well, it comes up to that part of the show now. Obviously, we had Stewie from the Sport Blokes filling in last week and did an absolute amazing job opening those old
He did. Thanks, Stewie.
Thanks, Stewie. This week, we're going to take it back to the old NBA cards. What do you got for us this week, Woods?
So we got the 93-94 Series 2 Topps Edition. Really good-looking cards.
These are the ones with that 1 silver card per pack, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. You explained to the audience.
Ripping open that fresh pack. Hopefully they're not all stuck together because it's 29 years old, this pack of cards.
Yep.
Hopefully a good pack here, Wood. Some Hawks, maybe some superstars. Let's see what we got.
Let's see what we got. All right.
Listen to those sound effects. Anyone was wondering if these packs were pre-open, they're definitely not.
All right. We started off good. Played for the Suns, later on for the Mavericks. Very big boy, goggles, center.
Oliver Miller.
Oliver Miller it is.
Hot plate.
Oliver Miller it is. Hot plate Miller.
Pretty big on that one. I've actually got his Phoenix Suns jersey, Woods, in my
you've mentioned that when we've pulled his card once before, I think.
And I've also mentioned very skilled player, right? For a big guy, he had some handles on him there. He was quite an interesting player back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. Now we got the great Phoenix Sun.
Luke Longley.
No, played in the playoffs versus the Bulls, ex-Philadelphia 76er.
Charles
come on, one of the most famous hoopers of all time.
Sir Charles. one of the best rebounders ever, given he's about 6'4". So
yep,
an incredible player.
The great mound of rebound, right?
Round mound. Yeah.
The round mound of rebound. That's
mound.
it.
Pretty insulting nickname, really, isn't it? Well,
yeah. Okay. Atlanta Hawks. All right. I remember this guy, center. Okay. Came off the bench, didn't play huge minutes.
Antonio Lang.
Well, Andrew Lang. Okay,
Andrew.
Yeah.
Right. I should have just said Lang. Nice.
I do.
Yeah, he was a bit of a defensive first center back in the day, wasn't he?
Yep, he was indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a first round NBA draft pick, Trailblazers card. He was a guard. Went on to have a moderate NBA career. Went to Alabama.
Terry Porter.
James Robinson.
Hollywood. James Hollywood Robinson. I remember him with the Clippers as well. He was a random number too, wasn't he? Like 26 or some random
26
number like
it is. 26 it is.
Yeah, he had some big hops on him, old Hollywood.
Love this guy. Was part of the Sonics team, a guard in their rotation. Could heat it up pretty quickly. Yes. Hersey Hawkins, and I got his Charlotte Hornets card here. Yeah.
Nice.
Well done, Robbie.
You know, I've got his old school Philly jersey. I'll have to rock that one day. The really old school champion, Hersey Hawkins. Yeah, he was a handy player for sure.
All right. Okay, we got the special Topps gold card that I'm pulling right now. Come on, this is an easy one. Okay, he worked in the front office for the Chicago Bulls. Hit that big shot.
John Paxson.
John Paxson. And he looks a lot different now than he did in his playing days, doesn't he?
He does, doesn't he? Because I think Jim Paxson was always quite a bit bigger, a bit sort of fatter, and that's. I think John's looking a little bit more like Jim now. But yeah, he was a handy player back in the day, wasn't he?
Definitely. A pretty good card. Man, I love this guy, man, and he had his share of problems with drug abuse and whatnot, and he came out of it and also passed away in the last 10, 15 years. Wore his goggles. Played on the Lakers, I think, as well for a short while. Who else did he play for? The Bulls. He was on that initial Bulls team that Jordan spoke about with Oakley and everyone. They were the partying Bulls. Then the Nets, Lakers, 6'9", power forward.
Why am I blanking on this guy? I'm just thinking Horace Grant. I know it's not him.
I know. Shout out to my brother. We used to use him on Lakers versus Celtics. He definitely was on the Lakers during the Lakers versus Celtics game when it came out in 1990 on PC. Goggles. Had problems with cocaine. And let me just try and give you one more clue here.
I'm blanking on this one big time. It's the goggles thing's thrown me, right?
I think I would have got this one. He passed away May 31st, 2012. He was a coach of the Los Angeles Sparks, Houston, and the Arizona Rhinos as well. No?
I'm going to give up. A rare one.
Orlando Woolridge.
Of course. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, he was a handy player back in the day. Pretty athletic. He was in a few dunk comps, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah, he was. Okay, come on, man. Canadian, Chicago Bull. I mean, we've got him so many times.
We have had a few Bill Wennington cards, haven't we?
If
I'm not mistaken, Woods, I think we might have gotten that same Wennington card in the last time we opened a pack of Topps.
We got the Sacramento Wennington card in the 1990-91 Hoops edition.
Like we've had a couple of Wenningtons already.
Yeah, but I think this might be. I think we had him in the Ultra Flare, man. Actually, a Bulls one, right? Yeah. Okay. Future scoring leader, Topps. Okay, this is. I think we had the Larry Johnson one in the last. This insert in the last pack we got. This is a card of someone we've already pulled so far. Okay, so who could be a future scoring leader out of all the cards we've pulled so far?
Who we've pulled so far today? Well, definitely not Andrew Lang.
Yeah, no, definitely not Andrew Lang.
Scoring leader today. Off my game today, Woods. No, give me another clue.
We talked about his nickname. What's going on today, man?
I haven't had lunch today. I'm just, I don't have the brain.
Charles Barkley.
I wasn't sort of thinking future leader because he'd been in the league like 10 years that time as well. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I was thinking of a young player. I didn't think it was going to be someone like Charles.
Oh, awesome. This guy was cool. Played for the 76ers. 6'5". Went to Georgia Southern. Played in Italy before making over to the NBA. His namesake is Ed. Kind of food you eat that we eat. in my community?
Right? Am I thinking rice or not? No.
No. What do Indians eat?
Well, mate, they eat butter chicken if they eat what I like to eat.
Yeah, but what is a butter chicken? What is a vindaloo?
So you're talking... So not Del Curry or...
Nope. Philadelphia 76ers, yeah? You know this guy. Forward. He was undrafted out of Georgia Southern, where he's the top scorer in the Trans-American Conference, played 1990. And then he went overseas and played in Italy for 3 years before making his way to the NBA.
And his last name's Curry?
Yep.
Jeez, I'm off my game today. I'm only thinking Del
Michael
and Eddie
Curry.
Michael Curry. Jeez, that's a name I've not thought about for a long time. Yeah, all good. I like that jersey, though.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, definitely. Okay, this guy was cool, man. Played for the Sacramento Kings, 6'3", guard. Also a good friend of Michael Jordan's, one of Michael Jordan's best friends on the Bulls later. He actually appears in the documentary.
Bobby Hansen.
No, asking for tickets from Michael Jordan in the 98 run, you know?
Oh, Randy Brown.
Randy Brown,
Another guy that had some hops too for a little guy, didn't he?
Definitely.
Man, I've forgotten him being at the Kings there. That's a blast in the past. Good first name too, right, Woods? You got to love someone called Randy.
First round draft pick for the Supersonics, okay? Has the same name as a very famous LA Laker player. We've pulled this card before. The identical name. A center. Played for the Minnesota Timberwolves later. Had a pretty decent career.
Irvin Johnson.
Irvin Johnson.
What was his height, Woods? He was a big boy, wasn't he?
Yeah, 6'11".
6'11". Okay, he's very long, wasn't he, from memory? That's why he's a good defensive stopper. Nice. Shame it wasn't the other Evan Johnson, but anyway.
Nah, but pretty decent pack, you know?
It wasn't too bad. Who were the highlights there? So obviously a couple of Sir Charles cards. We got a Hawks card, even though it was a bit of a no-name guy.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Orlando Woolridge one because he's someone I remember fondly, right? And it's also good that I got to stump you on one. Yeah, Percy Hawkins was awesome as well, right?
Who was the silver card again? Who did we get?
John Paxson. It's a gold card.
A gold card, that's right. Yeah. So for those that haven't seen, there's a normal sort of card for each player, and then they have this gold one, which is one in each pack. So I think they were normally worth, if a normal card was worth 20 cents, the gold one would be worth 60 cents. So I don't think we'll be retiring on that pack somehow, Woods, but it was
just quietly. I want to see you wear that Oliver Miller jersey one day, man, on the show.
Okay, for sure. Yeah. Oliver Miller and Hersey Hawkins, I'll elevate those up the list.
Oh, hell yeah.
Old sort of champion section.
Hell yeah.
Good stuff, Woods. I enjoy that, mate, as always. Well, look, that sort of takes us, I guess, to the end of the show now. Just wanted to obviously thank everyone for tuning in. Please don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you listen to our podcast. Also, just a reminder where we can be followed. So our Twitter handle is @throwbackshoops.
With an S.
Instagram, we're throwback.hoops. And of course, our email address is the throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. So throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Woods, why don't you take us away with your TikTok and Patreon details?
Yeah, so thanks, Robbie. TikTok is Woody_V83. And then with Patreon, if you just look up Throwback Hoops, you can jump on there and pledge your support to us. We'd really appreciate that. So, thanks, Robbie.
Awesome, good stuff. So, look, I just probably wanted to tease it a little bit. Next week, we do have a special guest coming on. Rather funny enough, Woods, he's got the same surname as me, so that could be quite interesting. So, we're getting my brother on there next week, who's a really highly regarded and highly respected journalist that's covered a lot of different sports over his years there. So, whether it's basketball, AFL, and obviously now he's got a big focus on motorsports there. So, we're looking forward to that. We've also got another special guest, which I won't tease at this stage, but another special guest coming up later in the month for everyone to look forward to there. So, all right, it's been fun again, Woods. We'll miss you at basketball tonight, mate. So I'm assuming you will stay home and watch that good NBL game rather than come and watch us play. So no spoilers, please. I'll catch up with that later.
No spoilers, man.
Final word from you, Woods?
Yeah, just for all our audience, you and I did actually become appear as guests on the Sport Blokes podcast. So we returned the favor to Nathan Stewie. So please check out their show. They do a great job, Robbie, as you know.
Definitely.
And Robbie and I guest on the most recent program there. So
it was nice doing that, wasn't it, Woods? We sort of did a bit of a home and away sort of style thing. It ended up being a late night Friday. Maybe a couple of beverages in for both of us by the end of the night, but it was definitely fun.
Yeah,
look forward to do that again with the boys. But all right, we just wanted to thank everyone for tuning in. Can't wait to do it all again next week. And peace out from the Throwback Hoops crew.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.